Welcome, everyone, to the inaugural episode of Belly Up Network Hockey, presented by Belly Up Sports. I'm your host, Kyle Sullivan, a.k.a. Shaggy Von Doom, but I'm not alone. Introducing from the LampLighters podcast, none other than the one, the only, Alex Nuttle. How's it going, my friend?
It's going great. How are you?
Living the dream. How are you?
Just dandy. Just dandy. Waiting for hockey to start, man. Almost. We're almost there.
Yeah, it seemed like a shorter off season than what we're normally accustomed to, and we get the preseason games and we get those knee-jerk reactions to go with that. But we'll cover preseason in just a minute. But we also have two other guests as well on the show. We also have Drake Harlett. How's it going, my friend?
Good. How about you?
You know, too blessed to be stressed and too dumb to know the difference.
Yep, I feel the same way over here.
And last but not least, we have Ryan McCarthy. No credentials required. How is it going, my friend?
Oh, ahoy, gentlemen. It's I'm just Ducky. How about yourself? Ready for the season to start? Let's go. Only Colin White more days until the season starts.
It's true. We are right there on the cusp of this new NHL season. And amidst all the preseason hype for all of our respective teams, and we'll get into that in a minute, but I think we'd be remiss without getting into the conversation that's dominating the hockey news right now. It's the story around Carey Price and the situation with Carey Price and him stepping away from the game for a little bit for very admirable reasons. We'll go around the horn as well. I'd like to finish this up with Alex. So we'll start with Drake. What do you think about the Carey Price situation? And what do you think about Montreal going forward and Carey Price going forward?
Well, I think it's best for him that he takes a step away from the game because your mental health comes first. That comes first before anything else. So I think this is great for him, and he can still recover from some of his previous injuries. So this is good for him and his family. So then these injuries don't prolong over a long course of the time, and it'll be just good to spend some good family bonding time with his family. And how Montreal should handle this, I think they were solid last year. They can go with anybody really. And how Carey Price goes with this, whenever he wants to come back, he comes back. But if he doesn't, and then we'll go with it then.
Yeah, I think especially after the career he's had, he's definitely had at that place where he can walk away, and he's earned it at this point. And I mean, health over hockey. Over hockey. Am I right there, Mr. Alex?
Yep, heard
Ryan.
That once or twice before.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Ryan, about this Carey Price situation, what do you take away from it, and what does Montreal do at this point, right before the season?
I think it sucks. I think he's being selfish. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, no, but no. I think he's doing an admirable thing, and I tell you why. Because his story is going to have I hope a happy ending. And this is that we've seen in the past. We've seen too many guys who have played hurt or have had mental health struggles, and their story is tragically. I mean, think about Bob Probert, Derek Bugard, Rick Rippon, yeah, from Vancouver. Those guys' stories ended tragically, and I think Carey was cognizant enough to call for help. I mean, Kyle, I've mentioned on your podcast, I'm a former hockey chaplain, and I'm only qualified to do so many things as a chaplain. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a ordained minister. So I would say, if you guys have something deeper than yourselves that I can't help you with, I will refer you to somebody else. And for Carey to take that step forward and say, I need some help with whatever issues I'm going with. And again, I just want to also iterate, it's none of our business what he's going through. Let it be handled privately. And I think, but is going to have a happy ending. And I think for somebody like Carey Price, who's a big enough star that he's a recognizable name, to let everybody know, hey, I'm going through some things, and it's okay to have a moment of weakness and admit that I'm going through some struggles, and I need to handle my business before I step back on the ice. So
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's a great thing, and I applaud Carey Price. He's in my prayers, as I know a lot of the hockey world has good thoughts going towards him. His good vibes and prayers going towards him. So, I'm hoping he gets back on the ice soon and he works out where he needs to work out. And even if he doesn't step on the ice, I'm happy that he's getting the help that he needs.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And he's one of those that he's an iconic figure. And there's a lot of kids that are growing up wanting to play like Carey Price. And hopefully he's making it okay to not be okay. And where you can see your hero taking this step back, making it an easier and something more okay for you to do as well. And be an inspiration in that regard, not just your play, but how you handle things off the ice. That's how I would like to end this with you, Alex. That's a lot of what the LampLighters are about, is health over hockey and the mental health aspect of things. What is your take on the Carey Price announcement?
Carey Price has been my favorite player in the NHL for, as long as I can remember him playing. And, the player assistance program was created back in 1996 as a resource for the players and their families. They're looking for help with some issues like either substance abuse or mental health or anything else like that. It takes a big person, especially of his stature in the sports world and the hockey world. Everybody knows who Carey Price is. Good God, you can hate the guy all you want, you still know who he is. It takes a lot to be able to say, hey, I need help. Especially, we all have our own demons. I have mine, time and a place, but I have mine. I know Kyle's got his. We've all got it, and it is what it is. There's not much we can do about it. But the fact that he's willing to come out publicly and say, hey, I'm going to utilize this program that was put in place specifically for this reason. Thought I liked him before, but good Lord, he's one of my favorite players of all time. And this solidifies that even more so. And I'm glad that he's doing it. I want him to come back happy and healthy and screw it. Take the Canadians to the cup, win the cup this time. It's your mental health is number one. And I think he realizes that, and so does his family. And I'm glad he's taking this time away to take care of whatever it is that he needs. So I'm happy with it. I'm glad that the program that was put in place is being utilized for a reason that it should be. And I wish nothing for the best.
Yep. And this is coming just maybe a week or so after Jonathan Drouin made the same statement about him taking time off last year for mental health reasons. It's becoming more and more okay to not take the macho bravado approach to handling things. And it's okay to step back and take care of yourself and ask for help. So I'm definitely liking seeing the names in the NHL being okay with taking these steps and being an advocate for mental health and health overall. So yeah, it's a wonderful story. And I know all of us wish Carey Price the best if he comes back or not, because he is a fantastic dude. And this is, like we said, this is coming on the heels of preseason. I would like to get everyone's opinion. It's one of my favorite things to observe during preseason is, I think, the most unlogged injury is the knee-jerk reaction from the fan bases that the sky is falling or overanalyzing your team in the preseason. We all have our respective teams. Can you get a good gauge on where your team sits off watching preseason games going into a season? we'll start with Drake. Drake, can you get a good idea from watching preseason hockey and overanalyzing preseason?
Oh, I definitely overanalyze all the way, but I feel like one of my favorite teams, the Detroit Red Wings. I have both Detroit and Dallas, but I feel like Detroit is taking really, really good steps in the right direction right now. Because our newest guy, Lucas Raymond, he's going off during this preseason. He's playing well with Zadina and Larkin. That line has been a threat on the power play this preseason. So I hope that he makes the team. And another threat is Bobby Ryan. Bobby Ryan has been doing amazing this preseason. And the thing is that my Dallas Stars, I haven't been able to watch too many of their games because they're not televised like around my area, so I can't really get a firm grasp on it. But I feel like they are going to be a pretty good team because we have a lot of our guys coming back and we have more depth now with the adding of Suter and like some good defensemen. So I think our defense is going to be well improved. The only thing that concerns me is our goaltending because Ottinger and Khudobin have been letting in some questionable goals during the preseason. But that's a preseason. They're just warming themselves up for the regular season. And for the Dallas Stars, I'm going to throw a little dark horse pick into them going to the conference final or even making the Stanley Cup finals this year.
Woo. I've heard a lot of hype from the Dallas Stars this year with a lot of just some preseason outlooks on how the season will be shaping up. So I'm interested to see what Dallas does have in store. We'll have to see. And yeah, with the additions that both Detroit and Dallas have made, who knows? They might get lucky and advance on where they were last year. So we will find out soon. Ryan, what do you think with what you are gathering from preseason this year? Are you getting any good tells? Because I know, especially the Devils, they have had some key acquisitions when it comes to that defensive pairing. They're looking like a more formidable team than previous Devils teams that have hit the ice. Are you getting a good idea on cohesion and chemistry and what this Devils team has going forward?
I think I do. Let me just have a hot take for Drake here for Detroit. I think Detroit could be one of those dark horse teams that might pick up a certain center from Buffalo, and he might change that team. But we'll have to see if they willing to trade inside the division because in the Atlantic Division, we'll see.
Yes, I really want Eichel to come to my team. That would be an amazing fit on that team.
He takes Detroit from basically, I think they've done enough steps in the preseason or in the off season to make a little bit of a jump. But if they get Eichel, that catapults them into at least playoff contention.
Yeah, I would be willing to give up a first rounder for him.
Do you really think Steve Yzerman would do Dylan Larkin dirty like that?
No, I don't think so because he loves Dylan Larkin. That's why one of the reasons why I got the C. But I think that would be pretty good to get him like maybe on transfer him from like center to like a wing position with him. Because usually a lot of people can play on the offensive line, can play different positions, so they could transfer him to like a different position.
True. Yeah. Play good. Yeah. The best players are always interchangeable. But
yeah.
Again, back to my Devils. So getting back to my New Jersey Devils, yeah, I watched Friday's preseason game while we were all drafting our respective fantasy hockey teams in our sister podcast, the Slapshot Sweethearts League, and I noticed a couple observations with the Devils. The first thing I noticed is that that pairing of Graves and Hamilton is going to change that team right away. I think the second thing I see is that praise the Lord above that the Devils signed Jonathan Bernier, because after that disastrous signing of Corey Crawford, where he just up and said, I don't want to play anymore after the preseason, after camp last year, that sunk the Devils for sure. The one concern I have, up front, Pavel Zacha is going to be one of those guys who's going to be his dark horse Selke. I think he's going to be up in the Selke. He could contend for the Selke award for best defensive forward. And there's a lot of chemistry and cohesion among the lines. The one concern I have, I have two little concerns. Ty Smith hasn't played in any preseason games this year, but I guess he's going through some maintenance issues with injuries. But he's going to be playing in the opener next Thursday against Chicago for sure. Jack Hughes has been going through some injury things, but they're minor injuries, not really concerning. I think he's going to have a breakout season this year. I think he makes the leap. The other concern, obviously, if you guys been following the whole Mackenzie Blackwood saga with the with COVID and him choosing not to get the vaccination, and good for him. Personally, I think it's all preference. He's had COVID, and I think I think he's cognizant of a whole science and everything. We could go dive deeper into that on another podcast, but he could miss some days depending on where he plays. But I mean, there's special exceptions for, I guess, athletes and actors and whatnot in different states, depending on which state you're playing in. So I'm not too worried about that, but I'm just happy that Jonathan Bernier, as an experienced goaltender in the NHL, is technically his backup, but it gives Blackwood a rest ever so often, and it gives time for Blackwood to develop as the goaltender of the future for the Devils. So I think the Devils are I wrote an article back about a month or so ago, and I said that I think the Devils they're on the cusp. They're not playoff level yet, but after watching a couple of preseason games, I think they could contend for a playoff spot this year. I think they could sneak in as a 3 or 4 in that division.
I definitely agree with you about Zacha. I mean, he's one of those you can watch and he stands out. He's incredible. And I was going to ask you, do you think Bernier and Blackwood it's a 1A, 1B situation throughout the year with Blackwood's vaccine status and when it comes to travel?
Blackwood's 1A and Bernier's 1B. But I know Blackwood's had not only the COVID issues from last year, but he also had some injury issues. And it's tough, but they have a capable backup in Bernier, and I think he's if Blackie can't go, then Burns will come in and do the job that the Devils need.
Yeah, and they got, like you mentioned, they improved the defensive core enough to where maybe that alleviates some of the stress on those goalies. So, Alex, tell me about your Columbus Blue Jackets. I've heard a lot of positive things from you personally about how your power play looks in this preseason. So, what do you think about your
power play? Looks incredible. Blue Jackets are 4-1-1. We're winning the Stanley Cup.
Oh, you heard it here, right here.
No, it's preseasons again. So I take every single thing that any team, especially my team, does with a grain of salt. I mean, there's guys up that they look good one period and they look horrendous the next period. In the third period, you're curious as to why they're even in an NHL uniform. Power play is, man, the whole team just as a whole looks completely different than it did last year. And as much as the last 5 years, people did not want to admit it, that Tort's shadow is gone. So guys are not having to deal with him one way or the other. I like Torts as a coach, but I think there was a lot of stuff he needed to step out of the 80s and start learning to do things nowadays. And already that's showing exactly what happened. I mean, Drake, I don't mean to harp on your Red Wings, but Patrick Laine just undressed their defense last night. Absolutely made them look oblivious, like they've never played hockey before in their life. And that's because you have the power play. It's completely different. These guys are allowed to do extra stuff. And last night, I think they were either 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 or something on the power play. Insane. I mean, this preseason, they have, I think, just as many power play goals as they did last season. The whole season. It's insane. And the best part about it, everybody's contributing. It's not just Patrick Laine. It's not just Boone Jenner. It's not, I mean, everybody. The biggest acquisition I think we had for the power play that people aren't realizing is Jacob Voracek. This kid in the last 10 years has the most power play assists in the entire NHL. I will take that all day. You get him to sit there and he can find the lanes. Feed Line, feed Bjorkstrand, Boone Jenner, Zach Werenski. Even the second unit looks good with 2 rookies on it, with Cole Sillinger and Igor Chinikov. These kids are insane, and I will put money down now, even more so, that they will be on our opening night roster. And there will be kids that have been playing NHL level, like Alexander Texier, over the last couple years. I don't think he's going to make that roster. And there's a lot with this team. You know, I still think the Blue Jackets are probably one of the top 3 teams in the whole Eichel saga. I don't think they're number 1. I would say they're number 3. But we have the pieces to give up. You know, hey, you need prospects? Cool. Here's this kid. He already has a couple good years of NHL experience. You know, unfortunately, we're not like the Coyotes. We don't have 173 draft picks in the next draft. But yeah, I think we've got the pieces to make a move. But I'm very optimistic with this season and even the next 5 to 10 years with the guys that we have coming up. As long as they want to stay in Columbus, I think it's going to be great. I really do. You know, I think Cole Sillinger is going to be, he's been compared to Matt Barzal on a regular basis. And I think the sky is the limit for Igor Chinikov. I mean, this kid is a left-handed Ovechkin, and I don't think it's going to be hard for him to just continue scoring goals on a regular basis. So I'm really looking forward to our future. I'm looking forward to seeing what Columbus has to offer. And whoever decided that the Blue Jackets have the second lowest playoff percentage odds, pretty sure you're an idiot. And I will put down that the Blue Jackets are going to surprise a lot of people, and we're going to make another playoff appearance. And I'm probably going to say at this point that we're going to finish 3rd in the Metro.
Wow. We are hot take central right now. I dig that. And, you know, honestly, do you think this optimism around the Blue Jackets right now is because of the absence of Torts? Do you think it's a weight off of everybody and their chance to really prove it to a new system?
I think,
like, do we get to see coming out of Line?
I do. One with Line, I'm going to call. I think he has 40 plus this year. I think he's going to have an outstanding year. He had a horrendous year last year. The whole league knows that. And he just signed his 1-year qualifying offer contract for $7.5 million. And he could be a guy that's easily worth the 9 to 10, but he needs to prove that. I mean, 100%. We still have his rights. He's going to be a restricted free agent again. I think that was a solid signing, but I do think this is going to be a kind of coming out season for him of, hey, well, I was good before. I had a bad year, but okay, now I'm going to be even better than I was before. As for the whole team, I think it's a combination of 2 things. One, the big one, Torts is gone. You know, Torts has been the notorious badass in the league that nobody wants to play for him. And there were some random guys here and there, and it's just been this super defensive decor, you know, the blue liners or these grinders like Brandon Dubinsky. Nothing wrong with them at all. But the system wasn't working at all. We swept Tampa, and that's our only playoff series win in 20 years. Clearly, there was no success. People hated it. I think trading Cam Atkinson was a fantastic idea. Getting rid of Seth Jones was a great idea. Nick Foligno, David Savard, Riley Nash. I love all these guys, but it's like, hey, something's not working. Goodbye. But on top of that, and there is a lot of unknown. I mean, there really is. We have a lot of really good guys, but a lot of them aren't proven. You know, we just drafted Kent Johnson out of Michigan. This kid already has been lighting it up for Michigan with Owen Power and Matty Beniers and Luke Hughes. But we have no idea if he'll translate to the NHL. Same thing with Cole Sillinger and Igor Chinikov. They're great in the preseason. Get to the regular season, they could just be a dumpster fire. I have no idea. You know, the Blue Jackets could be top of the league. They could be dead last. I have no idea. But seeing a lot of these guys and the chemistry that they're putting out, I 100% am optimistic and saying that we're going to make the playoffs minimum this season.
Okay. You know what? And honestly, from seeing what I see with the Blue Jackets, I don't disagree. There is a different vibe around Columbus this year, and they could be a force to be reckoned with. So don't be surprised when it happens because you heard it here first. And I guess with me, for those that know, I'm a Colorado Avalanche fan. And it's one of those things. The reason I asked this question, when it comes to Avalanche fans right now, especially after the showing we had against Vegas the other night, it's one of those that the sky is falling. We lost 7-4. We lost Pablo Francouz, our backup goalie, who a lot of people forget. Before last season started, he was rumored to take Philip Grubauer's spot. Grubauer was going to be the backup, and Francouz was going to get the start. But he lost that in preseason. But Francouz is out 3 to 4 weeks with an undisclosed lower body injury. So for the Avalanche, it's par for the course. You're used to injuries at this point. And our safety blanket for the past 2 to 3 years has been this young depth and the up-and-coming talent that we have coming through the system. And through preseason so far, nothing's really clicking. And what was concerning against Vegas just a couple nights ago, that was Nathan McKinnon's first time on ice, and he was invisible. And you don't hear that a lot. We still haven't seen Cale Makar touch the ice. He's been in no contact jersey during practice. Mikko Rantanen has been kind of invisible. Gabe Landeskog he's looking okay, especially it's a big year for him, especially with all the off-season dramatics and flirting with Seattle and then coming back for that contract. He has a lot of proving to do when it comes to backing up the numbers of that contract and putting the fan base on edge through that whole offseason. The Avalanche fans, we aren't as confident as in the team right now. But again, this is preseason. We'll see how everything gets put back together. But it's the running joke at this point that we can't get past the second round. And when you are trying to fire on all cylinders and rely on youth and depth, and you get into this preseason mode and you're already suffering injuries and things aren't really clicking, it's more cause for concern. So it's a watchful year for the Avalanche. I know they're always picked right up there to be a Stanley Cup contender, but this is a prove-it year, especially with Nathan McKinnon's contract coming up pretty soon. Mikko still has the richest contract on the team. Does he stick around? And the rest of the preseason, the Avalanche will be out without their head coach. He tested positive for COVID-19. So he will, and this is his second run-in with COVID-19. So the Avalanche have some uncertainty, and it's putting the pieces back together. And at time of recording, they're playing against the Dallas Stars. So we'll see what Kemper versus Khudobin will look like tonight. But it's a cautious environment around the Avalanche right now. So, but nobody asked with the Avalanche, so I just went in and told you. And we'll go back around the horn one more time before we wrap this up. I want to get everybody's idea and give me just something that you anticipate with the season, whether it's the new NHL television package. We got a sample of it the other night. As great as that was on TNT with the production issues. And what do you think with the TV package? Do you see anything with the teams this season who's going to stand out? Or who do you think is going to actually end up winning this Stanley Cup? We'll start with Drake.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for it to come back on ESPN because, to be honest, I think it was a bad idea to go to Versus than NBC because on ESPN they were getting pretty good viewerships, and over the years their viewerships went down for like viewers. And I think it's going to be great to see ESPN again because ESPN, I hate to say this, is going to take over all the sports like channels like at one point in our lifetime probably. And I'm just excited to see this year because honestly a lot of these teams out there could do well or could do really, really poor, and it could be a tight races for the third, fourth, and fifth spots in all divisions this year, which is going to create a lot of excitement for everybody to watch. And for the Stanley Cup winner, because I think Tampa Bay is going to win it all again. They're going to do the three-peat because basically they have all the same exact people back, and even though that they went over cap last year during the playoffs, which I think they should change that somehow, so then teams don't go over the cap. Tampa Bay is going to be dominant again because Vasilevsky still, I think he's going to be inside of his prime. Still, I don't think he even hit his prime yet, to be honest with me. So I think it's going to be Tampa Bay. And for the Western Conference, for the finals, I think it's going to be Tampa versus Vegas. But I never know. You just never know with Colorado and Dallas and Edmonton. Edmonton's going to be a sneaky one this year, I have a feeling. With Connor McDavid, I think he's going to be a little PO'd that he did not do well during like the playoffs last year as like a team together. So I think it's going to be like a revenge year for the Edmonton Oilers to make it to the Stanley Cup final.
Okay. All right. I can live with that. You got Tampa. Okay. We'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see. They've had some changes, but yeah, Vasilevsky is Vasilevsky. So, and again, it's the story with every team. Health is going to be the issue. So as long as Vasilevsky can stay healthy, they'll be all right. What do you see going into this year, Ryan? When it comes to the NHL as a whole, do you see anything standing out when it comes to television contracts or the game as a whole? Stars coming in, stars going out, teams coming up, teams going down. What do you think when it comes to this year?
Personally, I'm pretty excited for ESPN to have NHL back. NHL being back on ESPN. Growing up, that was my jam. Watching the Stanley Cup final on there, or any hockey period on ESPN. I didn't get a chance to see the TNT though. I don't think my provider has TNT. I think Fubo doesn't have TNT, but you know, I'll check it out on YouTube if it's there. I think Ovechkin's got a chance to do something special in the next couple of years. If he scores 150, if he scores 50 goals for the next 3 seasons, he's only about 14 behind Wayne Gretzky for the all-time record. I'm hoping that a 36-year-old Alex Ovechkin will score 50 goals again this year, get the Rocket Richard Trophy. Teams on the upswing. I think Philly's on the upswing. I think Philly's on the upswing. They improved their defense last year over the offseason. Detroit is on the upswing in the Atlantic Division. I think Tampa will take a step back from all their losses they had this past offseason. As far as the East goes, I'm going to say the Islanders are coming out of the East for the Stanley Cup. In the West, gosh, it's so difficult to say. In the West, I'll say if Vegas comes out of the West, but I think the Islanders will be lifting Lord Stanley's trophy in the new arena that's going to open in the next month, UBS Arena. I think the Islanders have a complete team. They signed Zach Parise as a just kind of on a discount since he got released by the Wild after that experiment failed, and I think Barry Trotz is the best coach, and I think he's the best coach in the NHL. And I just think he just knows how to match lines and knows how to just shut down the top line of the other team. And I think my opinion is that the Islanders will lift the Lord Stanley's Cup in early June, late May, early June. So that's my bold take. Well, bold prediction for the Stanley Cup.
I do like that. I mean, the marriage of Barry Trotz and Lou Lamoriello, I mean, it's hard to beat. So, Alex, what do you think for this upcoming season? We are just single digits away. Do you have any anticipation for this season?
I mean, I just want to see how the Blue Jackets are going to be. I mean, I have one hot take that's going to get under a lot of people's skins, and I am all for it. Is it going to happen? No, but I'm going to say the Kraken are going to finish better than Vegas.
Ooh.
I'm going to just say the Kraken are going to come out and surprise everybody.
Scorching take.
I'm
Wow.
not saying that I don't think they'll win the division, but I really want them to do better than Vegas. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it and speak it into existence. Why not?
Do you think that is because of how Seattle's constructed currently, or Vegas taking steps back with losing Marc-Andre Fleury, losing Revo? Do you think it's what Vegas has lost, or what the Kraken are doing going forward?
I think it's a combination of both, honestly. I mean, you trade away the Vezina winner for literally nothing at this point. I mean, literally nothing. The guy that you get, you don't even sign him to a contract. So you give Marc-Andre Fleury away. Granted, you have Robin Lehner. I love Robin Lehner. He's still a good goalie. Don't get me wrong. I think Vegas is going to start taking a step back. You know, they need to step into the world of poverty and actually miss a year of the playoffs and see what it's like and see how many of them become Kraken fans. And the Kraken, you know, granted, the expansion draft was a surprise to everybody, myself included, with who they took and who they did not take. But I think they knew what they were doing, and I don't think they're done. You know, I could see the Kraken being very, very good in a few years, based off of getting the prospects that they've gotten, the picks that they do have. You know, they drafted Matty Beniers. I think he's going to be a franchise centerman. It really depends. I do think, like I said, it's a combination of both. You know, Vegas has definitely taken some steps back. They don't have their big enforcer anymore. And I'm not saying the Kraken do, but everyone's not going to be great for 30 years. You know, it's just one of those things. But I'm going to unfortunately have to agree with Ryan. I do think that the Stanley Cup is going to go into New York, but not to the Islanders. I think the Rangers are going to pull it off, and they're going to end up squeaking into the playoffs.
Wow.
I do think that the Rangers had a bad year last year with the pieces that they have. You know, they made a couple of moves this offseason, some very questionable. And then they've gotten some other ones like Ryan Reeves. Even though it was not for Tom Wilson, getting Ryan Reeves for Tom Wilson was a good move. So I don't know. I think that especially getting Gerard Gallant is going to help quite a bit this year. You know, granted, he's just a guy. You can't control performance based off of one dude, but I think that the Rangers are going to take quite a few steps forward this year. And you're going to start seeing, especially in the Metro, you're going to start seeing the tides turn. You know, Ryan totally understands this, that the last, 10 years have been the Penguins,
Yep.
the Capitals, and then that's about it. You know, there have been some other teams. The Islanders have been really good the last couple of years. You know, the Devils have gotten in there. The Blue Jackets were, I don't want to say regularly, but on a pretty consistent basis, taking that 4 spot, one of the wild cards to get in. And the Capitals, TJ Oshie's getting old. Ovechkin's like 72 and just signed a 5-year contract. And then you have Sidney Crosby, who's made of glass. And then Evgeny Malkin, who is also 72. And then Chris Letang. Like, these guys aren't getting any younger. And we're going to start seeing a massive swing, especially in the Metro, to me. And I think that's going to start this year. I really do. And honestly, the Devils are one of the teams I'm going to start being concerned with. I really am. You know, getting Dougie Hamilton is a big thing. And like we were talking about earlier with him and Ryan Graves, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a huge pairing. I really think there's a ton of potential.
Literally and figuratively speaking, because they're both 6'6" and 6'7" respectively.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Big boys.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do think that the Rangers, you know, it's a out of left field call, but I think the Rangers are going to take it this year. Coming out of the West, I always want to say the Avalanche, but I'm going to go ahead and say the Minnesota Wild this year.
Whoa.
The Avalanche can't make it past the second round. And trust me, as a Blue Jackets fan, I know what that's like. I do. We made it to the second round one time. But I don't know. I think the Wild have something special. You know, they got Kaprizov to another 5 years. Wild and Rangers in the finals.
Wow. Okay. That'd be a great Jersey game for a Stanley Cup, but wow. Okay. We got Minnesota and the Rangers. Interesting.
Let's hear yours, Kyle.
Yeah,
well,
Kyle.
I agree with one Stanley Cup winner that was already here, that was already announced. This is not a homer pick, and I'm going to explain it, but I believe the Avalanche will make it to the Cup this year, but it's not going to be on skill. It's not going to be on skill. I think it's going to be on depth alone. I really feel like I know because of where I live, it's kind of a similar way to describe it, but I feel like that Western Conference is almost like the SEC, and it's going to cannibalize itself in a way. It's just going to be physical play that's going, and it's who's the healthiest to make it. And I really feel like the Avalanche are the deeper team in the West. They might not be the most incredibly skilled when it comes to the West, but they are deep. They are very deep. And Sampo Ranta, Alex Newhook, Bowen Byram, brand new names that people will know before too long. And I feel like the additions of those the talent, I think will get them to the Cup, but it will not win them the Cup. And I honestly feel like the Avalanche will get to the Cup and go the Pittsburgh Penguins style of handling the organization. We're going to oversign Nate McKinnon and Gabe Landeskog and Mikko forever. We're going to ride them forever, and we're just going to we're going to be stuck with them forever and ever, and we'll just kind of be at this level and never make it to that next level. But I feel like the Islanders will win the Cup this year.
Come on, you guys have Jack Johnson. What? You don't think he can help you win?
He, out of everyone that has played this year, Jack Johnson has looked really good. Banana pancakes himself, Jack Johnson. We'll
see when the regular season starts.
And we got Ryan Murray. He's not terrible
when he stays healthy.
I mean,
been there, done that.
True.
It was like that in Columbus. He has
yet confirm
to play a full season.
Can confirm.
And then he was in New Jersey for one season or half a season. I think the most he's played in one season is like 60 games tops. He does not stay healthy. So when he's healthy, he's fantastic. But he's never healthy. That's the problem. That's why I was not upset seeing him leave.
I think the difference with the Avalanche and the rest of the West is when you go down those lines, you really have to figure out who you're going to sit or healthy scratch or not start, because the Avalanche are that deep. Once players start falling, like Chicago, they are 2 pieces away from being bottom of the league. They 2 big injuries from being at the bottom. But if they stay healthy, they could be right up there contending. They could even knock the Avalanche out. It's all about being healthy, and I think the Avalanche are deep enough. If they do run into the common problems of an actual 82-game season, I think they can withstand that better than other teams. But again, it's not going to matter because the Islanders are going to win this year, and we might see, and it'll be, of course, just beautiful on ESPN and ABC. The Islanders lift the cup, and everything is right in the world. So, again, I want to thank everybody for coming on, and we'll go around. How could everyone find you, Drake?
Well, you can find me on pretty much any social media page out there. You can find me at Instagram at HarlettDrake14. My Twitter handle is Drake Harlett. My Facebook is my first name also and last name. Pretty simple. And if you want to reach me, if anybody has Snapchat or anything, my Snapchat handle is Drake_Harlett14. Because 14 is for Gustav Nyquist, my favorite Detroit Red Wing player to come out of there.
Thank you for him, by the way. I love Gus.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Ryan, how can everyone find you, and what are you involved with these days?
All right. Well, fun fact for Drake, 14 was my little league number. So I've always
That's
liked the number
awesome.
14 myself. Yeah. Right now you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at whoisRyanMCC. It's pretty universal throughout all the social media channels. Right now I'm working on some writing stuff. I'm doing some more writing on Belly Up Sports. No Crunch Required is currently on hiatus. Doing some reformatting again with the show. But it'll come back in November. Get some things cooking up. And right now I'm just doing some writing for covering the Jets, New York Jets, not the Winnipeg Jets, New York Jets on the football side, and I'll be covering the New Jersey Devils on the beat side for Belly Up Hockey for the writing. So you might hear some more Jets and Devils talk on No Credentials Required. So come on, check it out. Starting up in November, and again, look on the writing side. Look for me on the writing side. Look for my articles. I usually post them every time I post. Posted one today about the New York Yankees just because I could do that. But I'll probably write something about Carey Price before the night ends too. I got a few hours before I go to bed anyway. So, but you can check me out Twitter and Instagram at whoisRyanMCC. No Credentials Required at Belly Up NCR on both Twitter and Instagram. Facebook is facebook.com/Belly Up Sports NCR.
Well, thank you to your New York Jets for beating my Titans. Now I don't have to watch the NFL anymore. I have no reason. Alex, where can everyone find you right now?
Oh, you guys can find me out on Twitter at @Nuttle_CBJ. You can find my podcast, The LampLighters. Easiest way is to just go to ignitethelamp.com. You can find everything there. Go check out our Twitch. Right now, it's still Canes and Tomahawks, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. You go check out our website. Like I said, go check out Belly Up Sports. Link for our Twitch is up in the top right-hand corner. You can also check out our store merch. Go buy stuff. Just like with Ryan and Kyle, we have merch. So go buy it. It's awesome.
Bonfire.com. Just do a search for either LampLighters or No Credentials Required.
Exactly.
They're awesome, by the way.
Kyle, where can everybody find you, sir?
Yeah, Kyle.
Hi. You guys can find me here on Belly Up Network Hockey. You can find me also hosting here in Puckberg. But if you would like to find here in Puckberg or myself on socials, you can find me at Shaggy Von Doom everywhere you look. Yes, that's a Full House reference. And you can find here in Puckberg on Twitter at HPuckberg. You can find here in Puckberg on Instagram, here in Puckberg _ in between the words. And you can find me, just around on Belly Up. So for me, Drake, Ryan, and Alex, we'd like to thank everyone for stopping by on the inaugural episode of Belly Up Network Hockey, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you